Hey, what's up, Flock? This is Robert Dabney Jr. with another entrepreneur, a successful black man that has took his time, money, energy, and effort to do something that not only impacts him, but impacts his community and generations to follow. I'm speaking today with Mr. Prentice, and we'll let him tell you a little bit more about who he is, his background, and how you can find out more about him and his organization. And so, Mr. Prentice, is that all right for me to call you Prentice?
Everybody else call me P. Michael, but you know what, man? That's my God-given name, man. It's okay with me.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. I
I
like
like
P.
that you
Michael.
pronounced it. Yeah, I like that you pronounced it. That's the reason why I go into P. Michael. A lot of people
Ah,
can't pronounce it, so you did it, and it's perfect, man. Thank you.
all right, yeah, no problem, no problem. So if it's all right, can you tell us just a little bit about yourself, your background, where you grew up? Was both parents
So
in the home? Mhm.
perfect. No, both parents were not in the home. I spent 10 years with my mother and 10 years with my father.
Mhm.
So I got a chance to spend equal amount of time with both of them. I got a lot of valuable insights out of both of them. Like I learned so much from my mother, and then I learned so much from my father. And I'm was born and raised here in North Philadelphia, and I'm a
Mhm.
barber. Been a barber for over 28 years,
Mhm.
and barbering has been my career. It has been my passion, and it has been the thing that saved my life.
Saved your
So
life.
yeah. So barbering has saved my life, man. And I felt like I don't know, in my community where I grew up at, everybody was going down the wrong path. Everybody was choosing to either be a hustler, a killer,
Mhm.
or they just was just staying out the way in general. Me, I choose neither. I didn't want to stay out the way because I felt like, look, man, we're in this thing together. We gotta all survive and breathe in the same space. So I don't want to just go in my house and just hide like a hermit. You know
Right.
what I mean? So
Mhm.
I'm gonna put
Yeah.
myself out there in the light. And I didn't want to be a hustler. I didn't want to sell drugs. I didn't want to hurt our people. I didn't want to kill our people neither. So I didn't want to be a shooter. But what I did was I chose to help others. And so
Mhm.
through hair cutting, I always say, man, I save lives, I change lives one haircut at a time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
in my barbershop, I was able to cut the hustlers, cut the drug dealers, as well as cut the preachers, cut the doctors, cut the lawyers. And so my barbershop was that networking space where everybody can kind of have that common interest, which was me. Everybody was coming in, get a haircut. And so
Mhm.
that brung relationships together in the barbershop. And it's
Mhm.
an authentic relationship when you look up and you be like, "Dang, what's up, man?" And then now you say, "Hey, I seen that guy on the streets," or somebody say, "Hey, I seen your man. He was at the game or something," and you know what I mean. And now they
Yeah.
feel as though they got a relationship because of me, because of the barbershop.
Yeah. I mean, that's so important. That's awesome, man. Like just the fact that I know my relationship in the barbershop. It's been a while since I got my hair cut. But anytime I go to the barbershop, it's like family. Like, at least some of the people who gonna be there, the barber's gonna be there. And if you got a good
Absolutely,
barber with his head on right, he gonna teach you whatever he knows, and hopefully it's something that's correct. So,
absolutely, man. My learning. So I always used to say. So I used to be ignorant. I used to say the public school system of Philadelphia let me down.
hmm
But now I have to correct myself and be honest, and this is the real deal. I let me down. I wasn't
mm
paying attention. I wasn't focused in school, even when I probably had a teacher that was trying to teach me their very best or teach me the things I need to know, right? And
hmm
so, with that being said, I had lack of education. I mean, I graduated high school and I didn't even know what a noun, a pronoun was, an adjective, or nothing. And
wow, yeah,
but I was really really good at math. I was really really great at conversating, and I was really great at comprehending. So
hmm
if you showed me something, I can comprehend it very well. Like I
hmm
can repeat it.
all right,
But so when I graduated high school, I was listening to rap music, right? Love music, and I was like,
hmm
"Dag, man!" I had artists like Snoop and artists like Keith Murray and Black Thought, artists that were having substance and content behind their raps, right?
right, right.
Their artistry, and I couldn't figure out what they were saying. I was like dumbfounded, like, "Wow, what's this word?" And I used to ask my mom, "What's this word?" She used to always say, "Look it up, look it
hmm
up." You want to know what that means? Go get a dictionary and look it up. Like
Right.
she wouldn't give me the easy way out. She wouldn't give me a Google. You know what I mean? And so after high school, not having much education, I bought a pocket dictionary.
Oh,
And I used to be in a barbershop cutting, and every time I heard a word that I didn't know what it meant, I looked it up. I
mhm,
used that word in my conversation, in my everyday talk. And by me cutting so many people that had high education, the doctors, the lawyers, the scholars, the college students, the people who were educated. I
Hmm.
started adapting to that kind of environment. Like, okay, now I'm going to start being more educated. I'm going to start talking more educated. I'm going to start looking like I was educated, right?
Hmm.
Even though I was just a young kid from the streets of North Philadelphia. So I feel as though the bar, like when I say it saved my life, that's just one aspect. Like I got education through the barbershop more than I learned in my 12 years in school.
Man. Yeah, that's powerful, man. And I love that you recognized the weakness you had, and instead of just living with that, instead of just like, oh well, you did what you could do, and you took your time to learn. And it's not like you learned it overnight. You put
Right.
in the work that you needed to have to make it happen, and that's like it's phenomenal, man. That's my word, but it's phenomenal.
That's what's
Yeah.
up, man. And you're right about that learning overnight, man. I'm still at 40 years old, man. I'm still learning every single day. There's things, I learned the new word the end of last year. I learned
Hmm.
trajectory. And I was
All
like,
right.
this word sounds so cool. I
Yeah.
gotta use it in my everyday language. And I looked it up.
Hmm.
And now I started applying it to my language, man. I started applying it to when I talk so that I can learn new words at 39 years old. You know what I mean? I'm still
Yeah.
gonna be doing that.
Man, I mean, when we were younger, I didn't at least think that 39. I'm be 39 this year. I didn't think that
Awesome.
that was young. You know what I mean? But we still young. We still got a whole lot of life to live and a whole lot of impact we can make. So every day we learning. Every day we have a little bit more value to give to the world and the people we encounter. So
Awesome,
yeah,
man.
big ups, man. What about
Thank
I know you said you did graduate high school. Is that where you stopped?
yep. So I did after high school. I paid my way. I actually did this out of pocket through barbering school. So I went to a technical training
Mm-hmm.
just to get the license. I actually taught myself barbering at 12 years old. So I taught myself the craft and the art of cutting hair at 12 years old. And I went to trade school just to get the license. And I'm gonna tell you
Right.
something about getting that license, man. Because I didn't have great educational background at the time. I passed the practical, which is the actual the actual cutting part of the test. I passed that with 110. The
Okay.
highest score was 100, but they gave 110 for perfection. Went over the top.
Nice. Yeah.
I got to the theory, which is the written exam, and I failed it. And I let that discourage me from ever going back to getting my barber's license while I was that young. I was like about 18, 19 years old.
Okay.
And I was like, man, this don't validate me to be a barber. I know what I'm doing. And for years, I was cutting hair without a license.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in a barber shop. I'm using like a buddy of mine. I'm using his license, acting like it's mine. And everything was good. I mean, seriously, man, I'm even paying taxes with no license. And it was
All
all
right.
good. IRS take your money. They don't care. They ain't checking to see if you got a license.
Right.
But I had kids, and I was telling my children like, "Hey, man, you got to complete what you start." I'm just giving them all the wisdom that I have obtained over the years, and I'm sitting here sounding like I'm sounding like a fraud. You know what I mean? I'm sitting here saying,
Mm-hmm.
you know, finish what you start. You got to be a man of your word. I'm like, hold
Mm-hmm.
up, I left something on the table, and I never completed something that should have been simple for me because many people had a barber license, so it couldn't have been that hard.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just me taking the time out to study, me taking the time out to put the work in, me taking the time out to really be, just be on this, man. This was something that I had to complete in life. And 2015, I went back and got my barber's license. I graduated high school in 1996.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you talking about, yeah, you talking about 10, you talking about 9 years later. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? I mean, talking about
Actually,
20 something, 20 years
yeah,
later.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what the heck am I doing? You know what I mean? 19 years later, I'm sitting back and finally getting my license. But I tell that story, man. It's a flawed story, but it's to let you know, man, that it's no right or wrong way when you can do this, man. Like you could figure something out 20 years later and you try to start applying it right away.
Most definitely, man. I knew for one, like I wanted to. I ain't gonna say I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I knew I didn't like people telling me what to do and controlling my every move.
Gotcha.
And that didn't translate to like me wanting to have my own business until 20 years later when I'm like, oh, people out here actually doing this. Like I don't need to be a Rockefeller or a Kennedy. I can do it myself. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm still learning as well. So you're right. That's a true story, 100%. Um,
Awesome.
so real quick, was there any heroes that you had growing up? Anybody you looked up to that might have influenced who or what you wanted to become when you became an adult?
So I think at the time when I was young, when I could look out my door, I seen hustlers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was glorified to be a hustler in my community because they was the ones driving the dope cars. They was the ones getting all the girls. They was the ones shining, had the jury. They looked at like the definition of success to a
Right.
13-year-old, 14-year-old kid, man. It just looks so glorifying. I remember always kind of like looking up to the way they looked, not
Mm-hmm.
their entire inside, but I looked up to the way they looked. And my mom played a major role in making sure I would never ever touch those streets, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I was 12 years old, I started cutting my own hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I came in the house, I used a friend of mine clippers, man. And so I came in the house with a fresh haircut. She's like, "Who you selling drugs for?" I'm like,
Oh.
"That's the first thing you asked me." I got
Mercy.
all this I got all this hair on my shirt, so it's clear that I did it. You know what I mean? It's not perfect, but she was just really like really big on me never selling drugs. So my mom was my biggest hero, man. My father as well. You know, even though they weren't together, but for some reason, my simple-minded self looked up to the drug dealers in the neighborhood. So
Yeah.
I wanted to look like them. Didn't want to be like them. I just wanted to look like them.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I started cutting and I started making money, first thing I did was I upgraded my fashion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I always made sure I spent money on
That's
high end
first.
fashion. Yeah, and I spent a lot of money on high end fashion, thinking to myself, I'm shining like them, but I ain't doing what they doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that was just me kind of doing, just me doing that. Just me kind of like just living up to that whole like kind of idolize them, but I don't want to be like
Yeah. 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 So
them.
you're a
Yeah,
smart kid.
mother and father.
I can
I
tell like
was.
you had some intelligence behind you. You saw the good, but you didn't want the bad that came with it. And so
Absolutely.
that's respectable, man. So was it at that point when you first started cutting your hair that you decided that that's what you wanted to do with the rest of your life, or what part did at what point did you get bitten with that entrepreneurial bug?
So I got bitten with the entrepreneurial bug very, very early, man. At an early age, I used to sell everything, man. I sold back in the day. It was like African medallions. We used to be all about the
Yup.
red, the black, the green. We
Mhm.
had the beads. We had all that, and I used to make those things at like 8 years old, sell them myself. And barbering to me was not my first choice, but it was something that I had to do because I had to take that part over. I had to cut my own hair. My
Mhm.
mom didn't have as much as as the other kids' parents did. So I used to like, okay, I got to cut my own hair. I got to do it myself, put the ball in my own court. But I never thought to be a barber, man. I wanted to help people. So when I
Mhm.
got out of high school, I knew I didn't want to go to college, but I did want to help other people. So I tried to become a fireman. But with
All
my
right.
lack of education, I took the fireman test and I failed it.
Mhm.
And I remember registering myself. I had somebody like just talking to me about like doing careers and going to trade school to make money. And they was like, man, heat and air conditioning is going to be the wave of the future. Everybody needs
Mhm.
heat in the summer, in the winter, and everybody
Right.
needs air conditioning in the winter, in the summertime. And it was like, you should just register for HVAC. So I went
Mhm.
to school. I remember I went up to a technical institute and I registered for HVAC. And I didn't really know how to fill the application out. I had to do it myself. Really didn't know how to fill it out. And I remember filling it out and not being able to put down like my financial statement.
Mhm.
So I got denied getting into that school. But I always knew how to cut. But I never tried to be a barber. You
All
know what I
right.
mean? And
Mhm.
then I just, of course, after all those failures, like failing to get into the police, the fire department, failing to get into HVAC trade school, I just was like, you know what, man? I'm just going to go ahead and go full throttle at this barbering thing. And when I did, I built like I said before, I built relationships in the barbershop, man. And I just remember hearing people just tell me all about like their business. And I
Mhm.
wanted to apply everything that I heard into my business. So not just being a neighborhood barber that just coming to work when he wants to. I was like, I'm gonna run this barbershop like it's a Fortune 500 company.
That's
I'm gonna
what's up.
speak I'm gonna have a certain dialogue that we talk in the barbershop. I'm not gonna alienate nobody in the barbershop. I'm gonna
Mhm.
come to work on time. I'm gonna stay long hours. I'm gonna work on my craft. I'm gonna go to hair shows. I'm gonna learn new things in the barber industry. And I took it very seriously. I graduated high school at 17, man. Like I said,
Okay.
I used to always think the public school system let me down because
Mhm.
they pushed me through with me not knowing nothing. So by
Yeah.
19
Yeah.
years old, I had already received these failures. and now I'm full throttle at being a barber, and now I'm making more money at barbering than any of my teachers,
Yeah.
any of my friends that went to college. And now I'm like, okay, I'm an entrepreneur, and I
Yeah.
knew what it was back then. And I
Yeah.
started selling. I started selling products in the barbershop. I said, okay, what is everybody coming in here that have to have? They have to have
Mhm.
shampoo. They have to
Mhm.
have a brush,
Mhm.
and you got to have some moisturizer. And I made sure I kept those products in my shop. And today, my retail business does just as good as my service in my barbershop.
Man, wow, that's powerful, man. And since we at this point now, would you mind going ahead and just letting everybody know what it is you do? What your organization is?
All right, it's a few tiers here with what I do. So Hawk Barber, LLC, of course, I'm like LLC. That's the bar name of the barber shop. I have
Mhm.
rebranded myself. I used to be called North Filthy, but that fit the environment I was in at that time. I rebranded myself to Hawk Barber, and Hawk means high in French,
Alright.
so it's like high class, high level.
Mhm.
Um, so in my barber shop, I decided to create a program called the Junior Barber Academy. I wanted to teach young men and young women how to cut hair. How could I do that?
Mhm.
So I had to write syllabuses. I had to put together a structured plan on how to teach them what somebody I wish somebody would have taught me.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
at 12 years old, I had no mentor. I had nobody that kind of guided me into that path because then I would have just been straight to barber. You know what I mean?
Right.
I wouldn't have never tried. I would have never had these failures. But thank God I did because those failures allowed me to be successful at this career.
Most definitely, man. That's something that failure, we see failure as such a negative thing sometimes, but really it's just setting us up for something even greater. I like how you calmly put in that even though you had those failures, now you're doing what you kind of like was gifted at or talented at or worked hard at becoming. You're making more money than the people who were teaching you. And that's like
Absolutely.
a powerful lesson for all of us, man, because there's a few things that I failed at in life and felt like, I ain't supposed to be nobody special. So I'm just gonna sit right here and do whatever I do. But the truth is, man, we all got some sort of gift, some sort of talent, something that we're
Mm.
gonna learn easier than others, and we can teach others. And so not only did you take your failures and turn them into something positive for yourself, but now you're using that to empower the next generation, man. And that's
Yeah.
big. Like, can you say more about that?
Yeah, so the Junior Barber Academy is something I started back in June of 2018. So it
Hmm.
was just a thought, just an idea. Like I said, it was really birthed from just me saying I want to help, because I always had this passion, this thing that thrived inside of me to helping other people, right? But
Hmm.
I noticed a few things by being a barber. I noticed a lot of kids I was cutting were starting to go to college more and more every year. And I was like, wow, a lot of my clientele base are going to college. One
Hmm.
thing happened is they were all coming back home woofing because they would have to stay in college for like long periods of time before the
Yeah.
next break. So you talking
Yeah.
about some big old afros, and then they started getting comfortable and was like, you know what, I'm gonna keep the afro. I'm like, nah, gotta cut I gotta cut you. And
Yeah.
so I remember like just telling them like, you know what, man, if I was able to teach you how to cut hair, would you have always kept a haircut? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And if I taught you how to cut yourself, you can also use that same knowledge and cut somebody else. And now when you're calling home, you're not calling home, mom, let me get $15, let me get $20. You're calling home just to
Exactly.
say hi. You just call home to say, hey, mom, I'm good. You want something?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I made 40, $50 a day cutting. And I'm able to be self sufficient. And
Man.
so that's one part of it. The
Hmm.
second part was I thought about so in Philadelphia, the Asian community and the Hispanic community have been moving in very, very hard, right? And the
Hmm.
Asians created something called the $5 haircut in Philadelphia. And I'm pretty sure they're
Wow.
doing it all over. And
Yeah.
so now you got girls, women with four, five, six kids that's like, hey, barbershop haircut is $15 for my son, Asians five. I'm going to the
Yeah.
Asian. But
Hmm.
then when they come back to me, they come back with bumps all in their neck. They come back,
Right.
the hairline jacked up. And it's
Hmm.
because this Asian person that cut your kid hair never tried to learn the trade. He just went and got a license to get
Yeah.
just to make money.
Hmm.
And I was like, what if our kids cut our kids? You know what I mean? What if we
Yeah.
serviced our community? What if I teach a young man who has a drive and a passion to want to learn the craft, and he cut the girl with six kids for $5?
Hmm.
You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So
Yeah.
now he has more invested because they look like him. And
Yeah.
so that was another fold to why I wanted to start the Junior Barber Academy. And me, I'm an executor, man. I don't talk about something long. My mom taught me never to talk about things too long. She said, do it. If you
Yeah,
want to prove to yourself that you are, you're a man of your word, you can do what you say you're going to start. Start it and do it. And so I've been an executor. So when I said it out loud on Instagram in July, in
hmm
June, I started the program in July, 30 days later.
man. That's what's up, man. I love it. That's the whole idea behind empowering young men, young kids to take their lives in their own hands and not only do something that's going to benefit them but benefit others is like it's the dream for me. It's also something that I want my legacy to be. You know, the fact that this vlog right here is the reason I'm doing it. It's just because I want to put something out there that others can get some value from and use it to empower them, their lives, their futures, and their kids' futures. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's one of the main reasons I know I wanted to talk with you, man. When I found out what you were up to and what you all were doing. And is there a way that people can find out more about the Junior Barber Academy?
Yeah, so I have a website, man. I created a website myself, and it has all the different entities that about me, everything about me. So I wrote a children's book called Fred's First Haircut, of course, around my craft.
All
And
right.
it's about a kid getting his first haircut. I thought about it from his experience, his point of view. So that's on my website as well. I partnered up with Amazon to do that book.
Yeah.
It's a children's book. It comes with a coloring book as well, so kids can be active. I cut a
Mhm,
lot of kids with autism and they
mhm.
need to always be doing something. So I had to
Oh,
create the coloring book to keep them very busy and very active while they was getting their haircut. They don't be distracted by the noise of the clippers.
yeah.
And also the story is a great read for kids, for parents to read it to their children as well. So that's on my website as well. You got my
Mhm.
barbering business on the website. I have a foundation, a not-for-profit I started called the PMicheal Boone Foundation.
Okay.
I traveled the world, man. I have went to South Africa, Australia. I went to Houston when Hurricane Harvey hit. I go anywhere and everywhere that I feel as though is a need, and I come in and add the piece that I think is needed. Like, hey, look, somebody just need comfort. Some people
Yeah.
need food. Some people need toiletries. I went to Kenya and took
Mhm.
toiletries to young women who never even knew what menstrual pads was.
Right.
Never had them before. I took tons. I took boxes of them over there and introduced it to them. Do a lot of things, man. So the P. Michael Boone Foundation is here, thriving in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. But we do travel the world right now. And I just closed a deal with like five schools in Philadelphia. So it's two middle schools and three high schools. I go
Yeah.
inside the school. I teach the kids entrepreneurship. I teach them health and wellness. I talk to them about financial literacy, and I also mentor the young men and young women in the school district because the school district has the body of children. They have them, right?
Yeah.
And so if they're getting taught just the traditional curriculum that the school district puts together, they're also missing out on other key components. Every kid is going to come out of there, and every kid is not going to go to college. So
Right.
what do that mean? That I'm a failure? I'm not successful? No, that means I can start a business. That
Most
means
definitely.
I can come into a trade. So the P. Michael Boone Foundation, I go in there and I wake those kids to things like that. I talk to them about, hey, take something you love to do and make it a business. So whereas though you don't have to think about it too hard about, hey, how can I create a business? No, what do you like to do? I had
Mhm.
one kid I just was talking to the other day, talked to a class of 60 the other day. And one
Wow.
kid in there said, I like to work out. He's
Yeah.
like, I don't play football, I don't play basketball, but I just love going to the gym. I said,
Mhm.
you know what, man? People are paying physical trainers at this day and age more than they're paying anything else on a monthly membership.
That's for
People
real.
holding 2 and 3 gym memberships. I said, yo, man, they paying trainers to teach them how to hold them accountable to losing weight because they can overpower things in their life. They just can't overpower the eating habits or the going to the gym to work out. I said, you are needed and you can
Mhm.
start your business today. He like, for real? I'm 16 years old. I said, I think I would, if I was you, I would Google how old you need to be to get a certification for be a
Mhm.
physical trainer. And I would start my LLC. It costs $125 in the state of Pennsylvania. I'll help you. You get your business. Man, you can be in anybody's gym training anybody because this is what you love to do. It's something that you like other people hate. It's something
Yeah.
that you hate to do, other people love to do. And this is how we create businesses. So that's the P. Michael Boone Foundation, man. And so that's on my website as well. Also, information about the Junior Barber Academy. My website is www.pmichael.org. And that has all the different entities in there. People can can donate to the foundation because it's a nonprofit. I do this out the kindness of my heart, but it does take money to run these programs and to do these things. And I do take donations. The children's book, I encourage any parent that has a child, especially a young boy that hasn't got his hair cut yet, to
Hmm.
purchase the children's book because you're supporting a black author. Um,
Hmm.
my barbershop business, if you're in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to your flock, to the flock. If
Yeah,
you're in
the flock.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, yes, if you're in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, come see me. I have a grooming service for all. You can still have your own barber. I do a robust beard treatment where I steam the beard up and I put my own product. I make my own beard products and I apply them inside the beard. So even if you have a barber and you just have a beard and you're just trying to get that beard nice and lustrous, you can come see me as well. I do facials. I focus on skincare as well as hair care. So yes, come visit me at the barbershop. And if you feel like your child wants to learn a trade or you want to give that gift to your child, visit the website as well and sign your child up to the Junior Barber Academy.
Most definitely, man. I appreciate it. I'm gonna be sure to put everything down in the description that you mentioned. Your
Okay,
Micheal Boone Foundation, the website. Make
absolutely.
sure it's all there, so if they want to just click on it, it'll be easy access. Real
Awesome.
quick, a few more questions. I'll let you go, man. What would you say is the most rewarding aspect to leading your own company?
The most rewarding aspect of leading my own company, and I tell people this all the time, is not money.
Hmm.
Money is not the power to everything, it's your time. And what happens is you have to buy back your time. As an entrepreneur, one of the biggest things you should ever do is if you're firing your boss, you say, you know what, I'm no longer going to work for somebody else. And now you're going to go to work for yourself. You got to remember one thing. You're going to be so demanded of your time. You're probably going to work more hours for yourself than you
Hmm.
ever work for somebody else. And you're going to work for half the pay. But the
Hmm.
key goal in this is not to focus on the dollar amount, but to focus on the time. Being an entrepreneur, one of the best things I can say I did was I read a book called The 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. And I read the book probably about 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. And I didn't understand it when I read it, but I reread it. And then I remember downloading the Audible and listening to it while I was in the gym, listening to it
Exactly.
while I went to sleep, and it sunk in, and I started understanding. I started applying those methods to saying that you know what, it's not about me working more, it's about me working less, being content with what I have, and really spending more time with family, spending more time doing the things I love to do. Because I have to always do a mental checkup, man. If I'm not happy mentally, then
Hmm.
physically I'm going to be sick on the outside, and I'm not going to be able to help anybody with that passion I told you I love. I love to help other people. I
Yes.
cannot help people if I'm not help myself. So me, the biggest reward of being an entrepreneur is that I have learned to buy back my time. I mean, just to spend the time to do what I love to do. I go into the school district, I do not get paid. I talk
Hmm.
to these young men and young women, and I leave out of there happy. I feel
Yeah.
purpose. I feel fulfilled. I feel like I had a purpose that day, and I didn't make a dime. And so it's
Yeah.
not about money, but it is about me doing what I want to do. And because I have the time to set my own schedule, I can write that in my schedule whenever I want to go visit a school and help somebody. I can write it in my schedule to go come out there to shot Chicago where you're at
Yeah.
and to help and to do whatever it is that I feel as though the need to do. And that's the importance of being an entrepreneur is that I can do what I want to do.
Most definitely. I appreciate it, man. And just real quick, because I got it right here, I was looking at it earlier, the 4 Hour Work Week. I didn't know he was gonna
Ah,
plug it. Tim Ferriss ain't paying us for it. Maybe now he will. I don't know. But
that's right.
yeah, I was looking at it earlier, man. It's definitely a book worth reading. And it's
Yes.
resources in it. You can go to it again and again. So
Yes.
yeah, that's an excellent book. And one of the questions I like to end with though, man, is if there was a book, and that may be it, if there was a book, one book that you would recommend to a 20-year-old male in Philadelphia that don't know what to do with his life, or maybe he wants to start his own business but don't know how, or maybe he just don't know, have any direction. What is there a book that you would recommend he
Okay.
read?
It is. It is. I probably would recommend The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. Um,
Wow.
because you mentioned entrepreneur in there, but if we took the word entrepreneur out of what you just asked me,
Uh-huh.
I would recommend a book called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. It's an unpublished book. It was never published, but it was written in 1938. Um, a lady by the name of Miss Lecter, she ended up getting the book published under her publishing company. Awesome read, awesome book. outwitting the devil. It teaches you about drifting. It teaches you about energy. It will
Hmm.
give you an explanation to why things are going on in your life or why you feeling this negative energy, and you need to learn how to outwit it. You need to learn how to beat it. You need to learn what the devil is in order
Yeah.
to control him, because he is inside of everywhere and everybody. But you can get rid of him, and you can think positive, and you can be in a positive mind frame, and he can't have no space. And a lot of people, like I said about that mental checkup, we have to always check ourselves mentally so we can be healthy on the outside physically. And I would recommend that book to anybody because I suffer from depression, man.
Hmm.
I remember it hit me and I didn't even know what it was, but it was like picking up a bag of bricks. I'm like,
Hmm.
yo, this is heavy and I can't get this burden off of me. And at the time, I was so successful. I was making more money than I ever made in my life.
Right.
And I went through a state of depression and I just didn't know what it was. And when I spotted it, I didn't have a therapist. I had
Hmm.
family. I had
Hmm.
my kids. I had a relationship. And I remember like just talking it out, just talking to people and just sharing my thoughts, sharing who I was, being transparent with people, telling them how I felt. And I felt good and I felt better. And I
Yeah.
realized I had something called seasonal depression. It came back
Hmm.
every year at the same time.
Yep.
And I beat it. I beat it, man. I really beat this thing. And that's why I could talk about health and wellness to our kids because I actually experienced it. I could talk
Yeah.
about health and wellness because at one point in time I weighed 310 pounds and I lost 100 pounds and gained it all back. I had
Wow.
to lose it all over again. So
Yeah.
I know what it, and I have diabetes, type 1 diabetes, high blood pressure, and I beat it. I don't take not no medicine right now because
Man.
I'm on an all natural diet, man. I cut meat out my system. I cut dairy out. I don't take these prescription drugs, and I work out 3 times a week. And I'm still struggling with the eating habits, but I know better now. And knowing
Yeah.
better is really, really, really 90% of the battle. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Most definitely,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Michael Boone.
Yes.
Michael Boone, man. You definitely somebody that I'm going to be paying attention to because you're inspirational. Not only in
Thank
what
you,
you're doing
brother.
for the boys, but in yourself. How you are confident enough who you are to mention like the depression. I've been through it as well.
Yes.
Um, and also the rising and lowering and rising of your weight again, but you came back at it really hard. So I mean, you're a very special person, man. And I just hope
Thank you.
that others are able to hear your story, able to hear the things that you've done, and that it'll inspire them as well.
Yes, thank you, man. The flock, man. I mean, listen, man. This is to all the people that watch you, the people that are watching this video right now, man. Man, big shout out to you, brother, man. Thank you for having me on, man. You are a great part. Without people like yourself, people like me don't have a platform. We can't share our stories because we need each other, man. So I
Yeah.
thank you and I
Man,
appreciate
most definitely, most definitely. Thank you for your time. Tell the family, thank you for letting us borrow you for tonight, and
it. No,
we'll be looking forward to all the future things you'll be doing. And don't be
awesome.
surprised if I pop up in the hot. How do you say it, man? I'm sorry, I can say it.
Hot, hot.
Hot, yeah, 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 the hot barbershop. And
Thank you.
I might not get cut though, because I'm going for the dread soon. So, but yeah, I'll come up there and say what's up.
That's what's up, man. We will definitely walk in you, brother. Thank you, man.
All right, I appreciate you, P. Michael Boone. All right.
Take care, brother.